In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
Feel the power of knowledge.
Coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. And I did check again today, and that is still the state motto. It is Monday, August the 17th in the year of our Lord 2015. As we begin another beautiful week here in the Northeast. It was a hot one today, in the 90s, which is good because I like hot, steamy weather. A little bit muggy today. That's fine. Unfortunately, I was unable to do certain things that I usually like to do during the hot weather, like go to the beach, simply because I had too much work to do. You know, that thing, that four-letter word that so many people don't like on the left. It's called work. You got work to do. So we had to do it, unfortunately. But, you know, it even though it was a hot day, you know, we still had, well, I was cool anyway. I don't usually get too hot and too sweaty like some people tend to do around these parts. I like to be able to stay nice and cool in my mind, as I usually do. Now, I know probably some of you are tuning in because I know it was mentioned that there will be, I was going to give a tribute to my father, one Robert Bob Eccles, and that will come towards the end of the show. After the bottom of the second hour, simply because that's the way I need to do it. And once you hear it and hear me, you will understand why I need to do it towards the end of the program. In any case, speaking of program, if you wish to call me this evening, pick up your phone or dial on your computer pad, whatever you use. I don't know if you use Skype or Google Phone or what's some of the other phone systems out there that are online as well. 603-835-3224. Or if you're using old-fashioned hardline phone, again, it's a toll-free number, 603-835-3224. There's a lot of talk, and we got a lot to cover tonight, so, hang with me if I go through stuff a little bit fast, but just stay in there, hang in there. We'll try to cover it all fast for you. But we have a lot to cover, Hillary's in obviously top of the news with all her email scandal, as well as, somebody being found to have potentially thousands of emails that we were told, he doesn't have any of those. She doesn't have any of those. Turns out that he possibly had thousands of them, as well as some immigration news. But mostly it's going to be about Clinton stuff. North Korea's on the warpath again. Not the TSA, but a TSA counterpart in another country has done to keep the United States safe, which you're probably going to crack up when you hear this one. At least is, not just the TSA is doing stupid, idiotic things. And some Trump news, some interesting Trump news, and some 3D printing news. What has gone out there for some 3D printing? But first, there's still a lot of talk about the Planned Parenthood stuff going on, and how Planned Parenthood is, states are trying to reduce or eliminate their funding of Planned Parenthood, of which I am 100% behind. They should, but the individual states should eliminate their portion of their funding of Planned Parenthood, as well as the federal government should eliminate their portion of the funding of Planned Parenthood. Hey, look, if Planned Parenthood is all that good, and if everybody wants to go to Planned Parenthood, Planned Parenthood is covered by most insurance plans in the country, and everybody's got to have insurance now, right? So there you go. Planned Parenthood is still going to get its money. However, this whole notion that we shouldn't is now coming up, and it's coming up that defunding Planned Parenthood, especially on the state level, might be breaking the law. And you have Obama out there talking about, this could be breaking the law. You can't be defunding Planned Parenthood because I said so. Besides, women have to go there and get mammograms and cancer screenings. Well, here's a dirty little secret about that. He said this back in back here in New Hampshire and in Massachusetts when he was running against Romney in 2012. Because Romney talked about, defunding Planned Parenthood in the state of Massachusetts, and Obama was saying that was against women's health, that was a strike against women's health issues. Now, I don't know where and how this whole notion that abortion is a woman's health issue. It's a baby issue, for one. It's an unborn child issue, definitely. It's the unborn baby's health issue, not unless it's a life-threatening for the mother. It's not usually a health issue for the mom, just the baby. But this whole notion that Planned Parenthood provides all these wonderful types of medical testing and procedures that even Obama's out there touting and saying, even all the way back in the 2012 election cycle, is just blatantly false. And it doesn't take much for you to be able to figure it out or to find the facts. And Planned Parenthood does not do mammograms. They don't do good breast screen. You know what they do? If you come in, if you make your arrangements to go into Planned Parenthood, when a doctor is there, because Planned Parenthood doesn't have, what we typically think of as staff doctors. There isn't a doctor in Planned Parenthood. There's nurses, yes, but there aren't doctors all the time in Planned Parenthood. You got to make and when they do have a doctor in there, the doctors are usually tied up, pun intended, not intended, with abortions, performing the abortions. They're not there to do routine screenings or testing. That's what the nurses are for. But on occasion, what a doctor will do is they'll give you a breast exam, the old-fashioned way with their hands. Now, I know some people are saying, well, yeah, it'd be great for the doctor. Who doesn't like touching breastises, right? Well, for the most part, many doctors at Planned Parenthood are female. They're not male. So I'm sure for most of them, feeling up another woman is not the height of excitement for them. Maybe if they're a lesbian doctor, that's a possibility. But for most doctors, female doctors who happen to be straight, that doesn't, the idea of touching a female anatomy other than their own is not very exciting to them. But we all know that is not an early detection system. Because usually if you have if you're able to feel a lump, you're a good ways down the cancer road. I mean, you're not too far gone where you can't be, saved by modern medicine, but it reduces your chances of long-term survival because by the time the lump gets big enough for you to feel it, it has to be a certain size, which means it's had time to grow and possibly spread. Where mammograms tend to be able to catch things that you can't feel much sooner. But Planned Parenthood doesn't have that. And in fact, not a single location that we can find of Planned Parenthood has the ability to do mammograms. Now, what some will do, not all, what some Planned Parenthood, local Planned Parenthood clinics may do from time to time, it's not like they always have them, but from time to time, they'll bring in these what they call mobile mammogram units. Now, you see these mobile medical units at some hospitals. And basically what it is either in a big RV, recreational vehicle, like a big Winnebago or something that's been outfitted for this stuff, or it's in a tractor trailer, and it's in the trailer part. And you've probably seen this at hospitals. I know here in New England, they have this MRI imaging system on a tractor trailer. And the reason why it's on the tractor trailer because these MRI imaging systems are rather expensive. And so by having another tractor trailer, more than one hospital can share it. So, for 1 week of the month, it might be at hospital A, and 1 week a month, it might be at hospital B, and 1 week a month, it might be at hospital C, and so on. And all the hospitals contribute to the purchasing and maintenance of this thing, thus significantly reducing the cost because these things are expensive. Well, it's the same thing that, There are other mobile medical programs like mammograms, and the reason for that is because, again, it lowers the cost for this stuff because some of this machinery and testing equipment and so forth is rather expensive. And in order to keep costs down, thus keeping medical costs down, they will often share these devices. Well, the only way to be able to share this type of equipment is if you put it on a mobile platform such as an RV or a tractor trailer. Now, on occasion, not on a regular basis, from what I could find, they will plan some Planned Parenthood clinics will be able to contract to have a mobile mammogram station, if you will, be able to come for a few days or a week. Well, that's not really geared towards women's health and cancer screenings. Oh, hey what? I'll tell you what, ladies. We got this mobile mammogram facility in an RV that comes around, but it comes around once every quarter, once every 3 months. So if you can wait, for 3 months, we can give you a mammogram here at Planned Parenthood. But not even here at Planned Parenthood. It's going to be out in the parking lot. But that's the extent of, and as far as all these other cancer screenings, they don't do it. They're not equipped to do it. Plain and simple. So this whole notion that you have Obama back in 2012, and you have Obama saying it again, and some liberals and politicians and politicos saying it again today, is not only disingenuous, it's just a flat-out lie because they know, because they were told back then that Planned Parenthood doesn't do all the stuff that they say that Planned Parenthood does. But you have the low information people out there that think, oh my goodness, the evil Republicans and conservatives, they just want to cut out women's health care and they don't want women to get, this type of screening and that type of screening. But they're not getting it at Planned Parenthood to begin with. Plain and simple. And another thing is that, they're saying, well, this is going to reduce. I find this absolutely hilarious. That one of the reasons that Obama says this might be illegal for states to be able to have control of and spend their own money is because it would reduce the choice of women to where to go to get their health care. I'm sorry. But isn't that what the Obamacare law did in the first place, is reduce everybody's choice? So it's okay if the federal government reduces our choice. But if your state decides that they're not going to pay for certain things to reduce your choice, oh, well, now the big bad government and Barack Obama is going to swoop in, like a vampire and say, no, you can't do that. Because the federal government is like a big sucking vampire. We're sucking all the money out of your blood. I mean, this is just absolutely insane. For the government to run around and tell you when they institute a law that reduces every single person's ability to choose what they do with their health care, and then to swoop in and tell states, well, no, you can't do that because now you're going to reduce. I mean, that's hypocritical. I don't know what, that's a perfect definition of hypocrisy right there, folks. It really is. You can't get more hypocritical than that. So this whole notion that states, and I think the states should just thumb their nose at Obama and give him the middle finger and say, screw you, it's our money. All these unfunded mandates. Now, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that there were some Supreme Court cases on this and that it was found to be constitutional somehow, some way. I could be mistaken. Maybe they weren't U.S. Supreme Court decisions. Maybe they were lower court decisions that never made it to the Supreme Court. But I do believe that there was court cases because states tried to sue over certain unfunded mandate things, and the court said, well, no, the federal government can mandate the state governments to do anything. Actually, constitutionally speaking, that's not right. That's not true. And the states should be able to and they should. They should just say, screw you, we're not paying for it. We're not supporting an evil organization like Planned Parenthood. And frankly, neither should the federal government. Because it has nothing to do with health care. It really doesn't. They shouldn't be funding it either. Now, well, I know that there were at times there were certain health insurance companies that did not do that, did not go for planned or did not provide for Planned Parenthood, which is it's up to them. But evidently now that must be illegal. Now, I don't know if you're planning on trying to keep in health insurance premiums and in health care costs down, how is it that you will allow people just to go anywhere? Regardless of price or cost, whatever it is, how does think about this for a second, folks. If you have 5 clinics in your neighborhood, and, let's say a doctor's visit at one clinic at Clinic A is $100, but hospital visits at Clinic B is $200, and the last clinic, Clinic D, it charges $500 for that same visit. Well, why would you allow people to go to that and pay for it out of, the insurance companies and states' pocket? Why would you let them go to the $500 clinic when they can go to the $100 or $200 clinic? How do you keep costs under control if you let people just spend anything? Well, no, Rod, that's not the way it works. See, there's a basic amount of money that can be spent on each procedure that'll be paid for. Well, there's nothing that says that they can't say, well, okay, we're only going to cover, your insurance is only going to cover, $200 of this $500 visit. So you got to pay the other $300, right? Well, how is that? And a lot of times people don't realize what's happening until they get a bill. How many times you get, you go to the doctor or you go to the dentist or what have you, and you pay your copay. It could be $10, $15, $20, even in some cases $30 now. You pay your copay. And, you have the visit and the blah, blah, blah. And then when you're on your way out, the receptionist says, yeah, you're all set. Thank you. We'll see you in 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is that you have to go back. And about a week later, you get a bill. Now you open it up thinking, okay, it's going to show me what the insurance company's paying and show my, copay that I paid. And you realize it's a rather significant bill. You got to pay $100 or something. And you're like, wait, what? Well, it happens all the time. And it's happening even more post-Obamacare than pre-Obamacare. Because, again, they're only going to pay so much. And they don't care what the real charge is because in order to keep costs down, they're only going to allow so much. So, especially if you're on Medicaid or Medicare, there's only so much that is going to be covered. One of the big things that running around now, it's been big for a while, but it's even bigger now since Obamacare, is these Medicare and Medicaid insurance gap policies. Because the gaps can be, huge. The gap between what is actually being charged at the healthcare facility, what you're being charged at the healthcare facility versus what the government, Medicare and Medicaid will actually pay. There is a gap there most of the time. Well, somebody's got to pay for that gap. Well, if you don't have that gap insurance, that gap is going to come out of your pocket. And senior citizens are finding this out the hard way because nobody's telling them up front. Now, a lot of other people are starting to find out the hard way. Not only are they their premiums being jacked up. I just heard somebody say, well, yeah, I went from about $400 a month in premiums to $250 a week. Well, that isn't dropping your health insurance costs. You just went through the roof on that person. But we're supposed to be, but we're told that, hey, if we don't allow people to be able to go to Planned Parenthood and the state and federal government doesn't pay for it, then these people aren't going to get health care, which, again, is a bunch of bunk. Now, if the only reason to keep Planned Parenthood alive in its current configuration is simply and only for abortion. And they can show, all the procedures, as they call it. This is where they get you. This is where they get really tricky and nitpicky on this. All the procedures that they perform at Planned Parenthood, only about 3 to 5% are abortion. That may be true, but that's not the revenue generating percentage. You start looking at the revenue that abortions provide these clinics, this abortion factory, and you'll find out it is above 50%, and sometimes, depending on where the clinic is located, 75% or more of its operating income comes from that 3 to 5% of abortions procedures. That's not a lie, folks. That's what's actually happening. And so, therefore, if you cut down on paying for, government paying for, and understand, a lot of abortions are paid for by other than the patient. Government assistance, what have you, helps to pay for this stuff. And if government stopped paying for it, well, that there goes a huge income stream for Planned Parenthood. And it would wither on the vine and die, just as it should.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. Woo! There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
603-835-3224. That's the number to call should you wish to join me here live on The Rod Eccles Show. Getting into some Hillary stuff. This from the Washington Post, and I actually kind of chuckle a little bit as I read this, but realizing it's from the Washington Post. But the headline reads, Hillary Clinton in warrior mode in Iowa dismisses email controversy as partisan game. Now, the Washington Post, even as liberal as they are, they should know better. She's in warrior mode. No, she's in CYA mode. She's trying to cover her ass. Excuse my French. Clear Lake, Iowa, Hillary Rodham Clinton was in political warrior mode as she addressed Democratic activists here Friday night, delivering a fiery, rip-roaring speech designed to help quiet concerns about her weaknesses as a presidential frontrunner. She can't quiet them. She can't quiet these concerns about her weaknesses. Look, her weaknesses are very apparent. She's a liar. She's untrustworthy. And she's a potential possible now, not convicted, but possible criminal. I know some people are saying, Rod, are you calling Hillary Clinton a criminal? Well, she hasn't been charged or convicted of any crime. That's why I said she's a potential. Because of what is going on with her emails, there is a potential there for a crime having been committed. And if there is a crime that has been committed, well, it's her emails. So obviously, unless she's got a twin somewhere writing the emails for her, she's the one that wrote them. She's the one who would have committed the crime. Plain and simple. If you're not supposed to use another server, if you're supposed to use government servers for your business stuff, your government business stuff, and she didn't do that, she used, other servers other than the government server for government business. Well, and if the law says that you have to use a government server for government business and she didn't do that, that would make it illegal. That would make it a crime. Now, maybe it's a regulatory crime, maybe it's a rule crime, or maybe it's a law crime. Yeah, it doesn't matter because all three of those carry the same kind of weight. As a matter of fact, she probably would hope that it's really a law, not a rule or a regulation, because oftentimes rules or regulations are dealt with more severely than if you break one of them than if you break a law. Just saying. But Clinton took the burgeoning controversy over her private email server head on, saying probes into her correspondence as Secretary of State, as well as her handling of the 2012 terrorist attack on Benghazi, are nothing short of a political witch hunt by her Republican opponents. You know, we were told this before. This is the same old stuff. What difference does it make? There's nothing in the emails. And then we started finding stuff in the emails. So it makes a huge difference. Now people are wondering, wait a minute. If we're finding all this potentially confidential and top secret stuff in her emails from her private server, what was the FBI doing leaving all this classified information out in the open for 1, 2, 3, 6 months? So now there's this talk that it's not taking the specter off of Hillary Clinton. Actually, it's adding more to it because now people are saying, well, it's not, well, maybe this stuff isn't classified. Now it's saying, well, if all this stuff was classified, why didn't the FBI clamp it down 6 months ago instead of leaving it out there in the open? Well, if the FBI needed to clamp this down 6 months ago, that means that some stuff in there that's pretty, if it gets out in the open, is pretty damaging to the United States. Well, too late now. It's been out in the open for so long. But, absolutely mind-boggling. And she just wants to say and try to pass it off as a Republican witch hunt. Well, it's not just Republicans who are saying this now, and it's not, the FBI is just looking into criminal activity. They could care less if you're a Republican or a Democrat. And, because, look, J. Edgar Hoover's FBI is long since not listened to presidents. Granted, the person who's running the FBI now is no J. Edgar Hoover. For better or for worse, I'm sure that the current FBI director does not cross-dress. Actually, over the weekend, I was watching. What were we watching? We were watching a program. Was it on the history? One of those history channels, like History Channel or Learning Channel or something like that. One of those learning types of channels about gangsters, the mobsters of the 30s, the early 30s, the John Dillinger and Babyface Nelson and Bonnie and Clyde. We look back on those characters as with a bit of romance. Going up and down the Midwest states from Texas to Illinois, just wreaking havoc, especially on banks and murdering, combined by all of those 30s gangsters, killing hundreds of innocent people, as well as hundreds of fellow gangsters. Yeah. I get, they also got gangsters, but the FBI came alive, if you will, because of those 30s romanticized gangsters. And it became a notion that, the FBI always gets their man. Back then they used to, they didn't really try to, arrest these major gangsters. They'd be the equivalent of today's 10 most wanted. They didn't try to arrest them. Oh, no, they would wait in ambush and just shoot the you-know-what out of their vehicle or, wait till they came out of a movie theater and pop them there. They weren't trying to arrest. But they made a name. Hoover made a name for the FBI that you don't want to mess with us. And the FBI has pretty much been that type of law enforcement organization ever since then. You don't want to mess with the FBI doesn't have a sense of humor. They don't. They don't. If they get wind of something that they think is breaking a law, that is under their jurisdiction, they're like pit bulls or whatever that dog is that never lets go. They don't let go. They will take it as far, and I know that sometimes, even the FBI, they, like a Whitey Bulger and that type of stuff, there's always questions about how they get their sometimes about how they garner or gather their information and certain tactics that they use and certain promises that they make and then they go back on those promises. But be that as it may, you have to understand the FBI is out to get their man or woman. Doesn't matter. And if the FBI is now sinking their teeth into this issue, well, this is no longer a Republican versus Democrat. This is legal, this is criminality versus non-criminality. Was there a crime committed here? If there was, who committed that crime? Well, again, if there was a crime committed, it most likely had to have been committed by Hillary because she's, the one who wrote the emails. And if she didn't write the emails, well, then there's a possibility of another crime being committed because of all of this stuff is classified. And only people who have certain levels of clearance can either read or have access to this stuff that is evidently written in some of these emails. So there's another crime that potentially having been committed if it wasn't Hillary. The left has got themselves in a trap, and so does Hillary. Well, I didn't write this email. Well, then who did you let write the email? Well, it was aide number one, but aide number one doesn't have your security clearance, which would be required to have this information in order to write this email and send it off. So it's almost at the point where it's damned if you do and damned if you don't, Hill. Which is, her own fault. She knew what she was doing. I don't want to hear this stuff. Well, it's a gray area. We're not sure. No, she knew exactly what she was doing. Trust me, folks. And a lot of that stuff that has been wiped from her server, because when the FBI picked it up and they basically said, well, this is a blank server, all that stuff that has been wiped from her server was done to protect her. Because she was probably doing some nefarious stuff that now is going to be much more difficult to reveal. Not impossible, but it's going to take more time and it's going to be much more difficult. Because you have to do it in other ways. You're not going to be able to do it, with computer forensics. You're not going to be able to. Now people are asking, is this the same, in this server, is it the same hard drive that was used when she was using it as Secretary of State? Very good question. It's very difficult to determine whether or not that's a replacement or if that's the original. If it's been wiped clean, it's going to be nearly impossible to determine whether that's a replacement or if it was because these servers they're not factory built at, like, say, Dell. These types of servers are not off the shelf most cases. They're usually custom built for the needs of the customer. And she wanted a server. It's called white box. You basically go to a computer, company, one of these, local computer companies, and you say you want a computer to be able to do this. And then that person will say, well, you're going to need, this type of hard drive and this type of RAM and this type, and then you say, okay, that sounds good. How much does it cost? And then they put all that together and they say, well, this unit, if we build it right now, is going to cost you X amount of dollars. And then you say, great, go ahead, build it. We'll buy it. That's a white box. It's all custom. It's not stuff that you buy. You don't walk into like Staples or order it on Amazon. This is custom stuff. Well, I mean, you might call places like, PC Connection. They might have a very nice off-the-shelf type of server for you, but I'm guessing that is not the case with this server. Because there's when you do off-the-shelf stuff, it's too easy to trace because everything has serial numbers and they know what's in what. If you buy a unit, when you go buy a computer at the store or Amazon or PC Connection or PC Junction, whatever it is, you get it from. The manufacturer has a list of serial numbers that they can go back and say, well, yes, these serial numbers went into this lot of computers. They know. So if somebody says, well, this hard drive, XYZ, did it come with, is it the original of this computer? And the computer manufacturer can look at it and say yes or no. That they can say, yeah, that's what's in, that's the serial numbers that went into those computers at that particular time. It matches all the other serial numbers. Or they can say, no, that one's kind of out of date. That serial number came way after we built those computers. So then you know. But if you have a white box, well, you can't tell because everything is custom and they just pull parts from different shells and put it together. There's no way of knowing unless the person who makes a computer actually writes down all those serial numbers and keeps it on file. And most, white box computer builders don't do that. Just saying. So this whole notion that she didn't know what she was doing. Yeah, she knew what she was doing. And people around her knew what they were doing, which is why they did it. It's why they did it that way. Plain and simple, folks. This is a game that they're playing. This isn't Republican versus Democratic partisanship. They knew what they were doing. And this is a game that the Clintons are trying to play. And she's currently losing. Now, Hillary also, she's up in Iowa. But with those emails, the number of emails, now earlier today it was listed at the 60 of the documents or emails that were referred, that she referred or that were on her email account had potentially classified information. Well, between this morning and this afternoon, that number went from 60 to 305. Now, I guarantee you that it's going to be more than 305 by the time this week is out. So you want to tell me that this woman is, can you imagine? I mean, this is the whole issue that we had with Barack Obama not wanting to give up his BlackBerry. So you want to tell me that this woman is going to be, trustworthy in keeping America, not only in keeping America's secrets, but utilizing and using the proper equipment and protocol in preserving the secrecies that need to be preserved. Well, if she doesn't know, if she claims that she's that ignorant, how are we going to be able to, how is she going to know when, because, she's going to be the president, just like Obama. I'm the president. Oh, wait, no, it's Hillary. Hillary's president. Hillary, you can do whatever you damn well please. So basically more than 300 of former Secretary Hillary Clinton's emails, or now over 5% of those processed so far have been flagged for potential secret information, the State Department reported to a federal court. Now, officials insisted, however, that the screening process is running smoothly and that they are back on track after falling behind a judge's schedule for making all of the emails public. The reviewers have screened about 20% of the 30,000 emails Mrs. Clinton returned to the department, which means if the rate of potentially secret information remains steady, more than 1,500 messages will have to be sent to intelligence community agencies known in government as IC to screen out classified information. Well, why bother screening it out now? Because that information is already out there. It's been sitting out there for months. Whoever wants to see it or wanted to see it has, not only have they seen it, but they have most likely have copies of it, which brings me up to another point. There are those out there saying, well, just like everybody else out here who has a backup, you have backups of your hard drive, whether it be, offline or off-site or what have you. Almost everybody uses some sort of a backup system to save their information. I have a backup system that helps me, back up much of my information on my computers, because it'd be terrible if something happened to your computer and you can't get access to your stuff, or if you lost all your work. That's terrible. Well, there are people that say, well, look, we already know that there's a thumb drive out there with one of her lawyers that has a bunch of emails on it. So why would it wouldn't be too far-fetched to assume that if she went to people that knew what they were doing and knew how to build a white box server, knew how to set up a private email server, an email account system, that they would know all there is to know about backups. So there is a backup, something out there, and I think that personally believe that the company who was hosting this and did all this, taking care of her server, I believe that they know where the backup is, and they're using it as a potential leverage chip should the things go south on them. They can say, hey, we know where the backup to Hillary's server is, but give us a break or immunity or something, and we'll give it up. At which time, I'm sure the FBI would probably say, okay, sure, because they're always after getting the big fish. FBI usually doesn't want to catch ensnare. I mean, they'll use the small fish, they'll use the small fish mercilessly, but they usually don't want to keep the small fish. They want the big fish. But in the end, if all they can get is a small fish, they are going to make that small fish pay if the small fish doesn't cooperate. They will make them pay big time. Now, you can call it extortion or something of that nature if you want, but it works for the FBI. And after all, part of the federal government, so they get to do that kind of stuff, I guess. I know some people don't like it. Well, they can't do that. They can't use people like that. Well, yeah, they can. And our government does it all. Does it all the time. But even Bob Woodward, this is a Newsmax story. Bob Woodward says the Hillary emails are as bad as Nixon's tapes. Now, I think that's worse than Nixon's tapes because there's much more of it. Yeah, Nixon had a lot of tapes, but for Nixon, there were no national secrets involved in the tape. Nixon was all about trying to cover up and figure, how to win the White House, basically. Seeing what the Democrats were doing and trying to counter them. Stealing the Democratic political information. There was no sending emails or tapes, secret tapes, with coveted top secret information or to across the oceans to other governments. Other governments couldn't interrupt the Nixon tapes. But for Hillary Clinton, this stuff is going, other governments have her. I mean, even John Kerry said, he admitted, oh yeah, there are other nations that are probably reading my emails. I have no doubt. So with that, do you think that they read Hillary's? Well, yeah, of course. We have no doubt. That's why we have certain protocols that we put into place, said Kerry. Secretary of State Kerry. I'm sure that he didn't realize that he was incriminating Clinton. Or, well, maybe he did. And this is part of the Obama administration's tactic to throw Hillary under the bus. To keep her from getting in the Oval Office and being the next occupant after Barack Obama. I'm sure Barack is trying to figure out who he can pick to be in the White House. All good dictators and potentates, they do that. They decide who the new ruler is going to be after they can't be the ruler anymore for whatever reason. Now, usually for a dictator, it's usually because, their health either gets way too poor or they just die. Kind of like Fidel Castro, he just figured his health got way too poor, so he just couldn't handle the daily rigors of being dictator. So he just made sure that he handed over the reins to, his brother, who happens to be older than him. I don't know how that works, but so far it seems to be working very well for Cuba. Well, Fidel has earned himself a very much needed vacation and retirement, and his brother Raul takes on he's in his 80s, if I'm not mistaken. Raul Castro's in his 80s. Well, I think Fidel is over 80 right now, but Raul is his older brother. By 2 or 5 years or something like that. It's it's not that significant, but when you get to that age, it's significant enough. 83 versus 80 is that there's a big difference. But and I don't know, maybe Clinton is starting to act her. Maybe her age is catching. You're not supposed to mention a woman's age. I know that. How old is she? She's Clinton. Wasn't she going to be 72 if she won by the time she got into office? If she won the president, so that puts her at 70, 69 or 70, right? And that's another thing. I find it very amazing that they always tend to say on the left that, oh yeah, look at these, your guys are just too old to be president. Well, we got Hillary Clinton, 70, 69 or 70. Who's going to be in her 70s by the time she takes office if she were to win. You've got Bernie Sanders, who's 78? Who's probably going to be 80 if he wins by the time he gets into office. And they want to tell us that, Ronald Reagan was too old and that, what was it? McCain was 72, so he was going to be 74 if he made it into office. I don't know. But we don't hear we heard all about ages back, on the Republican side, but we don't hear anything about age when it comes to the Democrats on the Democrat side. And they're far older than some of the recent GOP nominees. That's for damn sure. And those recent GOP nominees, none of them have an email scandal because none of them have seemed to have put forth emails with secretive information on them or in them that should have gone through a secure government server or government email system. Instead, they're, unlike Hillary, who put them on an open emails platform for everybody to see, which is probably what she wanted in the first place. I wouldn't put it past her. Especially for the Chinese to see. They owe the Chinese a lot of favors, the Clintons. So, yeah, don't doubt me, folks. Don't doubt me.
The leader in talk radio on the Internet. Right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialist. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialist today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Crew that broke the Watergate scandal under Nixon, and he says this is what Woodward says: you've got a massive amount of data, and now for those of you who don't know who Woodward is or Bernstein is, just think of the movie All the President's Men, and that's about the Nixon Watergate tapes. In a way, he says it reminds him of the Nixon tapes, thousands of hours of secretly recorded conversations that Richard Nixon thought, were exclusively his. Now, basically, although Clinton initially took the same position, she is now cooperating. Still, Woodward. What cooperation? There's that. Well, if you think that you've gotten rid of the most damaging information about you, the most incriminating evidence, then you're going to be willing to cooperate. Now, see, she can say, see, I'm cooperating. That's the difference. I'm cooperating now. Now, Woodward said that he expects the investigation to go on for a long, long time. Yeah, it should. It probably will, deep into the 2016 election campaign cycle. And he says that the answers are probably not going to be pretty. Probably not? No, they will not be pretty. But ironically, the emails could prove to be a character study, for good or for bad, about Clinton, Woodward said. He's saying, is she this secretive hidden person, or is she this valiant public servant? A look at those 60,000 emails and you're going to get some answers. Oh, yeah, well, hell's bells. Yeah, you're going to get some answers. And it's not going to be that she's this valiant public servant, but she's this secretive, selfish, out for herself type of person. That's what those emails are going to reveal. Good evening, my fellow Americans and fellow liberty lovers all across the globe. Yes, it is I. I am back in the Freedom Throne. Yours truly, Elrod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. And yes, I did look and check today, and it did not change over the weekend. It is Monday, August the 17th in the year of our Lord 2015. The number that you can call this evening if you wish to speak to me live is toll-free 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603-835-3224. And that number is good on landlines, on cell lines, on Skype lines, on Google voice lines, Google Chat, MSN, whatever Microsoft has. It's good. It's a real phone number. You can call it from anywhere. You could probably call it on your satellite phone if you have one of those. Yeah, just saying. And we are marching right along already into hour number 2, the fastest 2 hours on Internet Talk Radio right here on the Rod Eccles Show. Obama. I'm not done with Hillary yet, but I just needed to get something else off here. Obama, I guess Obama is starting to realize that he is not going to be able to stay in office, at least as president. He might get some honorary position as U.S. potentate or world potentate or UN potentate. Maybe the UN will make him potentate or something, or dictator wannabe in chief or something. He's not going to go away. Democrats don't go. Look at Bill Clinton. Look at Jimmy Carter. Democrats, when they leave office, they don't go away. Republicans, they still go away. You didn't hear much from Ronald Reagan after he left office. You didn't hear anything from George H.W. Bush. You don't hear anything from George W. Bush either. Republicans, you didn't hear anything from Gerald Ford. Republicans go away when they leave office. Democrats, on the other hand, I don't know, they seem to think that, they have this exclusive right to stay in the public eye and to meddle into public affairs even after they're no longer the president. Jimmy Carter. I mean, Carter, he goes into places where he should not be going to in order to negotiate. He wasn't asked to go into the Middle East or North Korea, but he went anyway. Bill Clinton, you can't get rid of me. I told you I wasn't going anywhere. I was going to stay around. Yeah, I'm always here. And now I could actually be right back in that White House again for another 4 or 8 years. I'm telling you, as long as my wife doesn't croak beforehand. I don't care. I'll prop her up somehow. She's going to stay there for that entire 8 years because I need another round. It was so much fun. They don't go away. And if you think Obama's going to go quietly into the night, you should be at Bellevue. And here is the proof of what I say. And you come to your own logical conclusion. And this is from WND.com. Obama seeks $1 billion. Yeah, you like that Austin Powers reference there? Obama seeks $1 billion for post-presidency work. Why would you need $1 billion for your post-presidency work? Well, you only need the money if you're not going away. And hey, he can't let I can't let the Clintons outdo me. They're worth like $100 million now. Well, hell, I can be worth $1 billion. They're $1 million, $100 million, I'm $1 billion. That's what it's going to be. I'm going to outdo them. So he's already fundraising for his library, his foundation, all that kind of stuff. Now, President Obama's associates, on the heels of a recent intimate White House dinner hosted by his wife and him for 13 guests to decide his post-presidency future, came to this startling conclusion. The executive couple could need at least $1 billion to bring their library and foundation dreams to fruition. Hey, but you know what? Here's what you do, Barack. You get your wife to run for president and then lose to somebody else, and then have that guy who gets elected make her the Secretary of State. And then you could sell, access to your foundation, quote unquote, just like Hillary did. Yeah, that'll get you $1 billion, I'm sure. You just have to start charging. Look, and I'm sure if Clinton can get $500,000 per speech, I'm sure, since you are much more eloquent a speaker than Bill Clinton, I'm sure you can probably get $750,000, $750,000 for a speech. Look, I'm just, your first few years out of office is going to be a gold mine for you, buddy. Now, advisors who've taken a look at the president's post-White House days and are attempting to map out a future for him and his family have already talked about fundraising strategies to come up with a minimum $800 million, the New York Times reported, but the necessary funds may actually hit the $1 billion mark. If you're going to go away, you don't need that kind of money. If you're going to just retire into, anonymity, much like Republican presidents do, you don't need that kind of money. George W. Bush didn't need anywhere near $1 billion for his post-presidency work. Evidently, Clinton needed millions and millions and millions of dollars for his post-presidency work. He's got to go off to fly off to Orgy Island and places like that. That costs money, right? I don't. This is unbelievable. So, folks, Obama doesn't plan on going away. Maybe he can't find a way to stay in office for a third term or longer, but he doesn't plan on going away. He's going to be interjecting and intervening. Whoever the next president is going to have their hands full dealing with sad to say, I'm going to have to say it, sad to say, they may not have to worry about Jimmy Carter because last I heard, Jimmy Carter, he was diagnosed with cancer. Now, I don't know what kind of cancer. I don't know if it's curable or not. I just know it was cancer. It was diagnosed. So, the next president may not have to deal with President Carter, but they're going to have to deal with Clinton, both Hillary and Bill. So they're going to have to deal with Billary, and they're going to have to deal with Obama. And it wouldn't matter if the president's a Democrat or a Republican. They're going to be a thorn in the side of whoever the next president is. I don't envy the next president at all having to deal with these two couples. It's just going to be a nightmare for them. Because if you do anything, Hillary may not be very well loved, but Bill is quite loved by because Bill is still Bill. Bill is still fun. He's still probably the most in the last 50 years, probably and I'm going to use this colloquial acronym, the funnest president that we've had in the last 50 years. At the same time, he's demystified and lowered the standard and decorum of the office of the presidency. Bill did. And this is how, we're able to have Obama, frankly. But he was probably, the most fun that we've had in the White House since, I don't know, probably since JFK. Seriously. But anyway, that amount would be double what former President George W. Bush raised for his own presidential library and accompanying programs. Obama's tentative post-White House plans call for an endowment of as much as $1 billion to create a foundation with worldwide influence, as well as a high-tech digital library in Chicago. Why isn't he putting it in Hawaii? There's something about Hawaii that he just does not want to be associated with anymore. I don't know why that is with this guy. He just doesn't. He doesn't like Hawaii. He might as well put it in Indonesia or Kenya for all I care. But again, as I've said, he's probably not really Kenyan by birth. There are other people that think that somebody else. There's a growing number of people that do not believe that Barack Obama Sr. is President Obama's natural father, biological father. They're coming. There's a couple of names that have been thrown out there due to facial resemblance and who those men were. And there's three of them that I know of so far that people are thinking that might be Barack's biological father for a host of reasons, and one of them is simply because his mother was kind of like a Kardashian, or is it Kardashian? I don't know. Where she liked black guys. She did, and she was known to have cavorted with a few, which she, not just, obviously she married a Malaysian who's not black. She liked guys with deep skin tones, let's put it that way. But she was known to have hung around certain, how can we put this, radical types of black men back around the time when Obama would have been conceived. So there are three different men that I understand that are being considered to be potential Barack Obama biological daddies. Now, we probably may never know unless we actually do a DNA test on all these men, including the president. But I don't think that's going to not voluntarily in somebody's. I don't think any of. Well, I do believe all three of the men are dead. Well, that goes the same for Barack Sr. is also dead. That's interesting. All four of, Barack's daddies are dead. Interesting. So the only way to get DNA samples from all of these guys is to exhume them. Now, I don't know if that's possible. Was Barack Sr. buried or was he cremated? I don't know. I didn't follow that, but we do know that he's passed away. And these other three potential men have also passed away. One of them under dubious circumstances. One we do know was assassinated, and one I think was just, supposedly of natural causes, but that could be of anything. But I'm not suggesting, obviously, these men, most of these men, passed away before Barack was of an age to have been able and of a significant influence to have done anything to them. So I'm not suggesting that Barack is responsible for the deaths of any of these four men. I don't think that that's possible. Well, I suppose anything's possible, but it's highly, highly unlikely as to be not possible. So just putting it, I know some people are going to say, "Oh, Rod, you're such a conspiracy theorist. You're like those nut jobs on the right, those extremists, right? All those people who are into Jade Helm and they think that Walmart's in collusion with the federal government to just round up everybody and put them in concentration camps here in the United States. And Walmart is where they're going to go. I don't believe in any of that crap. Just so people know, I'm not, these nut jobs talking about Jade. I'm not behind this Jade Helm conspiracy theory crap. Sorry, I know there are some people out there who are, follow me and what have you on my various social accounts, but I don't go for the Jade. I'm not a very big, just like the chemtrail people. I don't go for the chemtrails. I'm getting off subject here. I digress. But you know what? Let me just address that stuff. Yeah, it is really there was Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts in a movie, right? Conspiracy Theory. It's really quite interesting how that movie kind of imitates life, because you have all these conspiracy theorists out there and all these conspiracy nut jobs, and they spout off all these conspiracy theories, and then once in a great while, once in a rare blue moon, they land on a conspiracy that's actually true. And they say, see, we told you. And then they try to use that one example that they were actually lucky at being right on, and to try to say and try to use it as proof that all the rest of their conspiracies are actual proof. Now, when it comes to, the Jane Helm, you can make it look like anything you want, but the truth is there is no evidence of said. I know it. You may think that, the sudden closure of some of the Walmarts, but hey, all the Walmarts that have closed aren't in the Jade Helm area. And we know that there are other issues with Walmart, and in some places it has to do with, wages and the store actually didn't live up to Walmart expectations, even though maybe it was making money, but it wasn't doing it in the fashion that Walmart is expecting their stores to perform. A number of different business reasons for some of these Walmart stores closing. And it has nothing to do with them being utilized for government purposes for Jade Helm. The same thing with, these chemtrail theorists. I mean, I have had people just call me names. I've had people call me an ugly N-word. You ugly N. Really? Because I wouldn't believe them. I took them to task on their stupid chemtrail theory stuff. Now, after all of these years, you don't have a single bit of upfront evidence or anybody who flew these planes coming forward telling you that this is actually, nobody has ever done that. And when you ask them, okay, well, I've even asked, well, how is this stuff coming out of the plane? Well, they have these little spray jets, they're spraying the air. Okay. Where are they when the planes land? How come nobody finds these spray jets for this chemical coming out? And then finally somebody said, well, that's because they put it in the fuel and it burns, Rod. So there's a chemical that they've created that actually works the way they say they want that it works by burning it. Maybe that's why jets are getting better, basically gas mileage, if you will. MPG, miles per gallon, but that's, that they go by flight hours, right? So maybe they're getting, maybe that chemtrail is the reason why jets are getting better fuel economy. Really? There's not a single bit of evidence of because, we know what planes look like when they're spraying. We know what they look like. We've seen it. Crop dusters. We've seen it in Vietnam, spraying Agent Orange. And none of the jets flying over, the passenger jets flying overhead look like anything like those. So, and when you're looking at, the crop duster, you're looking at the B-52s and other military aircraft that were spraying Agent Orange and other chemical agents, you could see the spray nozzles that the chemicals were being sprayed from on the off the wings. But again, these commercial jetliners, they don't have these nozzles. So how they're actually spraying up there is beyond me. So, but when you point out this type of factual evidence or lack thereof, that doesn't stop people who believe in a conspiracy theory. And I specifically, personally, I don't have time for them. I usually don't engage people who want to come up with these conspiracy theories and try to use them and try to say them, on various media. I don't have time for them because you can show them all the evidence there is that could possibly be that they are wrong, and they will still say that you're being duped. I don't have time for them. So, I'm sure that, some people are probably going to say, defriend, unfriend, unfollow, what have you. Rod he's an idiot, he's a blind, he's been co-opted by the left, and go right ahead. I just don't have time for that kind of nonsense. And for the rare time or rare occasion that you actually get something right, that doesn't make the rest of your stories right. Frankly, I don't. But it's it is. I'm sure. Well, I'm sure I'm going to get some threatening emails or something. I don't know. Well, at least one thing is I'm not going to have any. I'm sure. The men in black are not going to be appearing on my door because I am exposing some sort of conspiracy theory. Because I just don't believe in that garbage. Keep the conspiracy theories in the movies. That's where they're the most fun. That's where they're the most believable. Men in black. If you believe in aliens, and if you believe that, certain people like, Elvis were aliens and didn't die and just went home, then that's great. Great for you. You don't live in reality, but, if you want to live in a fantasy world, in a fantasy land, and you're able to get along and you're not costing the people of this country anything, then continue living in your fantasy land. But just don't try to drag me or anybody else in with you. Just don't. We'll be right back.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. Woo! There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
You know, one of the conspiracy theories out there that was proven, well, it was proven false. And I know some people are going to say, well, that's not really a conspiracy theory, Rod. What are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about America not being able to drill its way out of dependence on oil from other countries. And we know that we were told that, it's not possible to do that. Well, I should say that that's a conspiracy theory that came to light. But it was a conspiracy to try, from the left and the environmentalist wacko group, to try to keep the American people dependent on foreign oil, because if you did that, then that means the price of oil would always be much higher than it needed to be, and gas would be, right now, with all that's going on in the Middle East and in Europe and China, gas would be around probably $5, $6, $7 a gallon. But because of the lack of pressure put on the supply from the Middle East and in OPEC in general, because the United States and Canada, and to a degree Mexico, being our own little oil cartel, we haven't needed to really go offshore to get. I don't think we actually import oil for our own needs anymore. We get it all here. So the conspiracy theory that the left and the environmental groups were conspiring to keep America from getting at its own natural resources, well, that was true. And we can see that right now. They're trying to implement that conspiracy again and try to double down on it when Obama's talking about, destroying coal, even clean coal. Now, I got to tell you, that strikes at the heart of middle America in eastern states like Pennsylvania and the Virginias. And I do believe to a certain extent, possibly Kentucky. We're talking in Ohio. We're talking coal reserves that are, beyond measure right now still. And these states and communities and towns in these places, especially in places like Pennsylvania, have been hit hard by this environmental wacko type of movement that is now sitting in the Oval Office. They have their leader sitting in the Oval Office, who is now doubling down, trying to use the EPA, yes, the same EPA that's out west polluting rivers and blaming other people for it. So if you want to talk about conspiracy theories, why aren't we talking about conspiracy theories that are actually happening and that we can prove? And that would be those types of issues on the environmentalist wacko on the energy side. We don't, hey, the United States is now kind of sort of the Saudi Arabia of natural gas. We're exporting it. We also export coal. We export coal to Japan and China, by the way. I mean, for people who don't know that, we do. But the problem is that we can't, even though we have it, we could probably export more of it, since we can't seem to burn it here in this country. We could probably export more of it if it weren't, again, for the environmentalist wacko and EPA regulations that prevent us from actually getting it. Because they prevent us from getting it out of the ground, and then once we get it out of the ground, they prevent us from burning it and utilizing it. So they get the coal industry both ways, digging it up and utilizing it after they dig it up. So that's a shame. We're talking high-paying, solid middle-class jobs just disappearing because of some environmentalist wackos, and the chief wacko sitting in the Oval Office just decides that, hey, if you want to build a coal plant, well, you can, but going to bankrupt you. And that's the truth. That conspiracy theory is a conspiracy fact, if you want to go that direction. Here's another conspiracy theory. Well, it's not really a conspiracy. It's because it's actually happening. We can see it. We can prove it, unlike the chemtrail stuff. But evidently, the TSA is our TSA, the American TSA, is exporting their way of protecting the flying public in foreign airports. Here's something that came out of entertainment.ie, which is out of Ireland, folks. Ireland. A Dublin airport seized a Minion toy fart gun from a toddler, calling it a security risk. I kid you not. Sure, it might be a pain to separate liquids into a bag and having to go through scanners and so forth, but it's all to put your mind at ease. Your mind, not that you're actually safer by doing all this, but it's just to put your mind. It makes you feel better. However, Dublin airport security might have taken it just one step too far. When passing through security at the airport, a Minion toy fart gun was seized from a young toddler and taken away. The security officers claimed it was a threat and took the toy gun away from the child. And if you haven't seen the Minion fart gun, then you should probably go to my website, rodeccles.net, after the show. We'll post it up there. But there's no way, no possible. Even if we were in the Star Trek age, this thing looks like a toy. It is a toy. There's nothing. It probably weighs nothing because it's all plastic. It's just they took the kid's toy fart gun away. I guess because if you have a fart gun in an airplane, and you shoot it, people might think that somebody's actually farting, and there might be a panic on board or so. Whatever. Yes, the world is going a little bit nuts, folks. This is from hotair.com. Remember, folks, when we were told that, well, one, Hillary would tell us that there's no other emails out there, and nobody else has emails. Well, in the words of George Takei, oh my, the State Department suddenly finds thousands of emails from a Hillary aide that they first denied existed back in 2013. Oh, yeah, these don't exist. Oh, my. They do exist. And these were on official State Department systems as well. Now, Gawker has fought to gain access to longtime Hillary Clinton aide Philip Raines, or is it Felipe? Philip? Do you pronounce? He's got an extra P and an E in the end. Is that Felipe? Raines' emails for 2 years in order to see communications between the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State and the news media. Back in 2013, the State Department told a court that it could find no records responsive to the Freedom of Information Act demand. Last week, they suddenly discovered over 17,000 emails that are potentially responsive. So all of a sudden, the State Department finds 17,000 emails. You know what? Our government, people in our, Hillary is supposedly on her email, it was 100,000 emails and she gave up 30,000 or some ridiculous number. These people are prolific. Does anybody actually talk to each other anymore? I mean, these people are prolific emailers. I mean, I use email generally speaking because, people that I correspond with aren't close to me. And if, yeah, we could pick up the phone, but, phone conversations all the time can be interruptive of people's daily activities of things that they need to get done. So it'd be like writing a letter. But the difference is writing a letter, snail mail takes much longer to communicate that way. So you use email. But what I always, when I worked in corporate America, I always found it, especially when I worked for a company called PC Connection, I was amazed at how many times that my supervisor would send me now my supervisor sat, it was, QB fields, corporate America, they have QBs all over the place, cubicles. But she sat in the cubicle basically behind me. All she would have had to do is stick her head up above the because if you stand up, you can see over the cubicle walls. All she had to do was stand up and say something. Even if she wanted to be private, it was all of 10 steps, walking over. But every day, I must have gotten at least 10 emails a day from her. Now, obviously supervisor, she supervised more than just me. She was my manager, so she obviously managed just more than me. So can you imagine, multiply that by how many people that was on our team that she probably emailed at least 10 times a day. And usually about inane and stupid stuff, because half the time I didn't email her back. I just turned around and answered her. But this must be what our government is now doing. Nobody's communicating, in person with each other. They're sending emails all over the place, and they're leaving a trail. I mean, the first thing the first rule of criminality: don't leave a paper trail. But these people, they're supposed to be the smartest people on the planet. They're leaving paper trails all over the place. The paper is electronic, but still, I know I probably shouldn't be saying, because now people are probably going to listen to this and take that to heart and be a little bit more careful. But look, the reason why they can't hide this stuff is because there's things called backup systems, backup servers and that sort of thing, where all the data stored in multiple places usually. So it's not that they can actually just go to one particular place and erase it, because it's usually backed up someplace, redundancy. Government has to have redundancies to a certain degree, because you never know what happens. National emergency, you're going to need to get access to certain critical information. And if that critical information is wiped out, then what are you going to do? So there's redundancy. So these people they're using this email like it's, nothing, like they're actually talking to people, and they think that they're not using Snapchat. No, I know Clinton, she recently made a joke about Snapchat, but can you, if she were in the secretary's chair today, I wouldn't doubt if she would use Snapchat. I wouldn't doubt if, some of our wonderful government employees are using Snapchat. And as far as we know, Snapchat is really what it says it is. It's really the end. There's no recovery, evidently. I'm not familiar with Snapchat. I have never used Snapchat. I am not familiar with Snapchat. I know I should probably get on board and get familiar with Snap. Look, I just got an Instagram account, so the type of business and stuff that I'm in, I have to be on top of all of this, the social media. But I got to, some of this stuff just comes hard and fast at you, and you just don't have time to really learn it. I just got an Instagram account, so I'm just building my Instagram account following. I'm learning all I can about Instagram. So Snapchat, is Snapchat a fad? It probably is a fad. I don't know. Maybe other systems will take the Snapchat type of system into their and adopt some of it into their own. Well, it's not Facebook anyway, because Facebook keeps everything going. That's what they want. They want to be your life recorder on Facebook. Seriously, that's what but that's not Snapchat. I don't use Vine because Vine is what, 6 seconds? I don't know what Vine is all about, really. Facebook owns Vine, I do believe. They bought them out, but and I don't utilize YouTube. I don't do video. Just by choice. I don't need to express or share myself that way. I mean, you can actually listen to this program on my YouTube channel, but you're not going to see visual reference, me visually doing the program. You're just going to hear audio. But it's over there for people who like to utilize YouTube. But again, there are just certain things I'm not yet ready to do. Well, Rod, you're falling behind if you're not on YouTube. I don't need to be a YouTube millionaire. I really don't. Maybe I should, think about it. More about YouTube. It's a great venue. I watch get a lot of videos over there, but I'm a guy who's behind the mic, not in front of the camera. My days of being in front of the camera are over. As far as I'm concerned, they're long over. Yes, folks, I actually did a B movie a long time ago. I was in a B movie. And not only was I in a B movie, I was also part of the credits as being a part of the crew. I was the assistant continuity director. And if you don't know what a continuity director is, look it up. But yeah, I was listed in the credits. I don't even remember the title of it. I remember the director was Garrett Abdo was his name. He was also the star of the movie, but he was the director and producer. And he was originally back then out of Atlanta, but he originally came from Syracuse, and he filmed half the movie in Atlanta and the other half in Syracuse. And I do remember people, in the industry that they thought I was so good as a continuity director, being the assistant continuity director, that they were trying to get me to move to New York City to become a continuity director and get jobs in the industry. No, no, I did not do that. But yeah, so I'm familiar with behind the scenes and big productions and things like that, and I don't want to do that. So I just don't. Yeah, call me a Renaissance man. I've done a lot of things in my life, been interested in a lot of different things, still have an interest in a lot of different things, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to actually get to all of them. The one thing that I do know is that you're supposed to go to your grave on full afterburner, just trying to accomplish everything in your life. In that you should go to your grave having spent your fuel. Even if you didn't accomplish everything you wanted, you should go to your grave having no more fuel left in your tank. In other words, don't leave opportunity and potential when you leave this planet. That would be that's a waste. That's sad. So I have lots of interest, and some, I'm just living life full afterburner right now, trying to achieve everything that I want to achieve. Because I plan to leave this earth, this body, being totally exhausted, and that's the way you live, or you should live. But don't try using government email to send top secret stuff, and don't try sending private email to send government secrets when you don't have the ability or the access to such a thing. Folks, this is the time of the program that I wanted to do a little bit with paying tribute to my father. For those of you who do not know, this past Friday, we laid my father to rest. And I have often said, if ever a son loved his father, I am that son. And I got to tell you, I will deeply miss the man that is known as Robert Edward Lee Eccles. 1939 sunrise to 2015 sunset. My father was a man who actually lived what I talk about, living every day, doing the best that he could with everyone. And he was an inspiration to me, and as I found out during the service, he was an inspiration to many people. I can't tell you the people that came up that I had never seen before, I didn't know about, and him relaying this information about my father to my family, and especially my mother, who also didn't know a lot that my father had done for other people. Now, it wasn't financially speaking, but what he gave of himself to others. And what we heard back was tremendous. It was absolutely unbelievable. It really gave us solace that my father actually did live like a Christian. Now, he often said that he wasn't religious, but let me tell you something, my father did believe. His soul was saved because I found his Bible. His Bible, even a man that says, I'm not very religious, with notes galore, he knew the Word of God. Although he never expressed it or tried to lord it over other people, he knew the Word of God. That is why I am confident in believing that I will see my father in heaven again someday. He was definitely a figure that influenced many people, including many people in my extended family, his nieces and nephews, who a lot of them I saw this past weekend, and they all brought forth all this wonderful information that what he did for them, just by talking to them going to him for advice, and them leading their careers into doing something better for themselves. And all of those people are doing fantastic in their lives, and they're contributing back to society. They're not hanging on the government teeth. And this is due to the example that my father set, and he set a very, very high bar. Now, it may be that he only reached the goal of Master Sergeant in the United States Air Force after 21 years of service, but let me tell you, that was an earned thing. He entered the Air Force being a gunner and a navigator on B-52s. A navigator. My father flew planes, basically. He navigated those big jumbo jets. And then he went to work for, later on in his career, on fighter jets. He worked with fighter jets. And then he went and worked, he always provided for his family. He always provided for his family. And this is my way of saying thank you, Dad. And so long, because it's not goodbye. We will meet again in the house of our Lord and Savior and our Father in heaven. I love you, Dad. I will miss you. Until we meet again.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.